cinematographer, Nick Matthews. Our next gentleman has been with the franchise pretty much since the beginning, and he is back to direct Saw 10, Kevin Reuter. Probably would not be sitting here today if it was not for this gentleman, Oren Kulis, producer. I don't know about you guys, but this is really cool. So we're going to do some chats, and then we're going to kind of have a little fun with everybody. Oren, I want to start with you, because we talked a little bit about sort of that fervor that happened back in 2004. Talk a little bit about what was it about this story that first hooked you, and like, could you imagine yourself sitting here 19 years later, getting ready to put out Saw 10?
No, actually in September it'll be 20 years when we shot Saw 1. I wish I could see you guys better. There's lights, and I want to see your faces during this thing. So actually, we're going to cut the lights. You don't need to see us. We didn't know. I mean, what it was for us is the short. We saw the short first, and it was like, holy shit! Just this short. And then we read the script. But when reading the script, you don't really realize when you're reading a script, it's a lot of design, a lot of description, and all of a sudden, in like page 95, like the guy in the middle gets up, I'm like, what guy? I'm like going back as fast as I can. Because when you're watching the movie, you see this guy there the whole time, but when you're reading a script, when it said dead guy in the middle of 1 second, you keep reading. So, and I know this is a selfish thought, but we love this short so much. When I was reading the script, I said, please be good, please be good, please be good. So, it was amazing, and here we are.
I kind of feel like we should just call you Jigsaw at this point, because you've been so ingrained with this franchise for so many years in so many different capacities. And I'm curious, coming into Saw 10, like, what was different for you this time? What did you set out to do for Saw 10 that was maybe different than what you've done with the other films?
Hi, welcome everyone. With this one, I think most of us, I'd say most of us that made the film were newcomers to the franchise, but at the same time, we got some very seasoned industry professionals like Nick and Anthony to help us out. And I think, coming into this movie, I had a confidence that I didn't necessarily have when I made Saw 6 as my first film. And so, really, I think one of the things you'll see when you look at this movie is there'll be a familiarity that, wow, the franchise is back. And it feels in a lot of great ways like the older Saw movies, but I like to think that we're all just technically much better at it and more experienced, and Tobin Bell in particular has spent so much time immersed in this character that he's kind of fleshed it out, I think, is about as far as any horror dude can be. I'm not going to say hero or villain. It's up to you to decide.
I wanted to ask for our sort of franchise newcomers. Nick, first of all, I want to say Spoonful of Sugar, that's just came out. Really great job. I really like that one a lot. Because Saw is known for like its aesthetic, and it has a very certain, particular look. Can you talk a little bit sort of coming into that, and then maybe playing around with it a little bit to kind of give it your own sort of stamp of who you are as a cinematographer?
Absolutely. I think for Kevin and I, it was really important that we were able to pay homage to all the early films. We love that the early films are 185. We love that they're textural, that they're gritty, that there's these really bold giallo color palettes. And we wanted our work to hearken to that with pervasive darkness and really throwing the audience subjectively right into this graphic, gritty world. So it was just a lot of fun for me to be able to enter this world and then also bring a certain elegance and beauty to it at the same time. I love beauty and brutality, and I want that in everything that I do.
I think you found the right franchise for that, for sure. Now, Anthony, First of all, when I was looking up stuff about your career, I was like, oh my God, he worked on T2, like, that's so cool. You're a veteran, you've done a lot of different, creative endeavors throughout Hollywood. Coming into Saw, like, the traps, like, they're so crucial. Like, is there a pressure to that? Can you talk a little bit about sort of like, coming in to be like, oh, this is like my playground now, and I get to kind of go have a little fun with it? I'm curious what that was like for you.
Yes, there's a lot of pressure, but on the flip side, there's a lot of excitement. And for us, the focus was to make the traps real, to make them believable, to make them an extension of John Kramer. We were working in a factory environment. Everybody kind of knows that. And we wanted to make sure that our traps were integrated and they were believable. So for us, we always look at the other films and we want to say, we want to do better, and we want for it to be very particular for this film. And I think also everybody knows that we shot the film in Mexico. So for us, from the get-go, we were already winning because Mexico is so exotic and John Kramer's like a fish out of water. So it was a combination of all of that. And then there is a history, of Mexican cinema. The craftsmen, the artists down there, they are amazing. So we had a wonderful crew. I had a trap team of 8, plus I had my construction team, and they were just fantastic. So I can't wait for all of you to see the trailer, and I'm very, very excited.
Well, let's talk about John Kramer, because he is probably one of the most fascinating characters in modern horror. He's not a villain, he's not a hero, like, he's somewhere in between, but I think this looks like it sort of changes it looks like it's going to change our perspective of John Kramer. Can you guys talk about that a little bit?
I'll start a little bit. John is absolutely the antagonist. The protagonist of this movie. He is a man who's ill. He's a guy who's looking to extend his life. And in his process of him thinking he's getting his life extended, shit goes bad. There it is. But he's absolutely the hero of this movie. He's in this movie probably more than this. I've not done the math, but probably the last 6 or 7 movies combined. This is his movie. He's in the first scene. He's in So this is John Kramer's story as a human, not as Jigsaw. We'll get there, trust me, but as a human. And his fears and what's going on in his life at the time. So we're really, really, really excited for people to see it. So, beyond.
Yeah, Tobin, like I said, he understands his character upside down and is a huge contributor to the script and everything else, and just our entire approach to making these films. And I would describe this film less as a giant puzzle for the audience, as Tobin taking you on an emotional journey with John Kramer through his darkest hour. So I think we pulled it off.
And bringing Amanda back, was that something you knew coming into Saw January, or did you let the script, as it evolved, sort of take you on that journey, be like, we're going to need Shawnee?
Yeah, she's integral to the story, so he was always part of it.
Was it for them, watching them together back on stage, or during the shoot and stuff like that, was it natural for them, after all this time?
Beyond. If you go back and watch the trailer, think how many times you saw that mask, then you see the end and realize how much she's in the movie.
I'm very excited.
And can I just say, this trailer overwhelms me. I had the same reaction the first time I saw it. I'm like, oh God, I'm crying in front of my bosses. Now I'm feeling the same way here, and I hope that it gave you the same reaction. I'm so grateful to Lionsgate for the amount of attention that they put into bringing this movie out to you and letting everybody in the world know about it. And as much as this trailer shows, the thing that really blows me away is kind of how little it does at the same time. So I think anybody who thinks, well, I've seen that movie now, is very, very wrong. There's so much more to this film than even the amazing amount that was there. I can say it's the most epic, and this might sound scary, but I think it's the longest Saw movie because, and we don't waste time. When we're editing a Saw movie, we do not waste time. So the fact that it's long, I think, is a testament to just how well done it is.
Well, it's a story. It's a real story. It's John in his life. And so we're, you know, I have to tell you, we've, you know, talked about Shawnee for years and bringing Shawnee back. And when you guys, she took that map, I was like,
I almost jumped out of my chair.
yeah. She had not seen it.
No.
So I made sure that when we talked to her before about what we were doing here today, that we couldn't, she's not seen the trailer. And she didn't know anything about it. So.
I actually have tears a little bit. That was pretty amazing. I have to ask you this because I've been somebody who's been long obsessed with the intricacies of the storytelling of Saw and the timelines and everything, and it's so fascinating to me because I think that's another way that the franchise stands out. And I'm curious because what we know now is that this is between 1 and 2, correct? Mm-hmm. How on earth do you guys like go back through these movies and make sure that everything is going to match up with the storytelling? Because I can't wrap my brain around it. I was joking with folks that like before 6.
Kevin.
Yeah, we were going to do a chronological cut of Saw, and it was like we saw 6, and we were like, well, there it goes. We're done with that now. But it's amazing. It's just I tip my hat to you guys.
Well, yeah, it's fun figuring out the narrative puzzle and intricacy of the whole thing. You know, again, this film I don't think is as complex. This is a much more straightforward story than maybe people are used to, but in a really good way. In a really good way, and because the whole thing takes place in the timeline between Saw 1 and 2, we're not bending ourselves into weird contortions to include Tobin's character in the story. I think anybody who's never seen a Saw movie will watch and understand and enjoy this film.
That's